The bulk of what I have to show you is going to be visual. And so you're going to definitely want to watch the recording because the visual cues are just going to be awesome. And it has a lot to do with your vision board, a lot to do with your vision board. When you talk about vision, visual is like, I mean, it's the very first word in the sentence. So, so definitely watch the recording, come back and check that out. And I would suggest that you continue to refer back to this because I'm going to cover a lot of information. We're going to go super quick, blow through a lot of stuff, and I'm going to give you guys a lot of value packed into this. We're going to go over everything from visions to steps to the explanation of why it doesn't work when you're looking at your vision board, why it does work, and then kind of crunch it all together and tie that all together into applicable action steps that you guys can start doing now if you haven't already. And I guarantee there's going to be some things in here that you don't know. But before I dive into all these details, let me just say it's cool that I'm here and introduce a little bit about myself. First of all, like my mom said, my name is Jamin Mishleviich. I am a little bit of a entrepreneur in my own right. I like to take on a whole bunch of different opportunities. And so I've been able to establish a business I like to call United Works Co., which is my mentoring company. We're doing a lot of different things up here in Missouri. For those of you that don't know, I used to, for the last 6 years, be a holistic lifestyle coach and a personal mentor in Utah. And the area all from Utah to St. George was all my living quarters for the first probably about 5 years, give or take, of my professional life in the area of being a mentor. And then I moved up to Evanston, Wyoming. And I spent about 2 years there. And that's where some things for me totally changed. Evanston was transformational for me. And not just in the sense of professional life and bringing things together, but I learned more in those 2 years because of my mindset and my ability to change the way that I was thinking about my past than I had in the previous 4 or 5 years because some things clicked for me. And I'm going to share some of those things today. It's going to be really, really cool. So stick around and we'll cover some of those details and hopefully I can pass on into the best of my ability some of the things that I learned from that point to now that is just going to help expand your rate of success specific to vision boards. So vision boards, first off, the very first thing people think, this always gets me right off the bat. Everybody always thinks a vision board is all about the board. It's a board game. It's about putting the goal on the board and you're just going to play with the vision board and you're going to stick your goals up there and you're just going to, write about the details and then you're going to get your goal off of that board. But first thing you need to understand is vision boards are not a board game. Write that down if you have to. Vision boards are not a board game. As you know, I absolutely love, as you should know by now, I absolutely love the gift and the tool that is vision. And I love how that very thing can be guided and utilized through a vision board. But as I said, vision boards not being a board game means mostly it's a mind game. It's about what you can conceive and perceive in your thinking. So, and we'll get into that a little in more depth as we go. Today, I'm going to do my best to explain the differences that occurs and show you the tools and techniques I use to get my personal goals flying off of my vision board wall. And I don't call it a vision board. I actually call it a vision wall. I have a whole wall of a system that I use from left to right, and I teach in other programs. But the system starts with the board in the middle there. But the first thing that anybody needs to know is that it is a mind game. So if you want to play the game, if you want to play the mind game, you got to know the rules of the game, right? You got to know the rules of the game. By any means, you can apply a variety of the vision board rules and regulations, and call it the rules of the game. But for our purposes, we're going to talk about 2 specific rules that you need to know about and be applying to your vision board. And if you're not, this is going to make a world of difference for you just with these steps. So let's get into it. So rule number 1, everything that we do is in terms of a vision board, is about achievement, and it comes at levels, right? And we can increase those levels by playing a better strategy at the game. So we do that by applying better tools and better techniques, and as we learn and we grow. But vision boards are no exception to that rule. They serve as one of those better strategies, as one of those better tools and specific tools and techniques by default, because they don't work unless we use higher levels of interaction. So not only do things come to us in higher levels and different levels, but vision boards itself is actually requiring us to exist at a higher level in order for them to even function, which is really cool. So using a vision board is like getting the perfect hand in a card game, for those of you that play card games. If you don't know how to play those cards right, it won't matter what hand you were dealt, though, because you're gonna be looking at that hand and you're gonna be thinking, oh, I'm gonna play this card or that card, and if you don't know how to play those cards, it's just gonna not pan out to the level that it could be had you known the ins and the outs of that game, of those specific cards in your hand, right? So vision boards is like being dealt that perfect hand. And if you can do your due diligence to know the rules and the regulations, then you're going to play like a rock star. You're just going to be winning the game every turn you take. Fortunately, though, even if you don't know the rules, by default, when you play with better cards, you get better results. So no matter what, by using tools like a vision board, which are at higher levels, higher calibers, you set yourself up for success, because you introduced a higher level of thinking, a higher level of being, and this tool in of itself, say, for example, if you were to use a shovel to go dig versus using a stick, just because you have the shovel, you don't have to know how to use it specifically and down to the detail about where your foot should go and what muscle in your foot needs to push down right to get that bigger gulp of dirt. You're still going to have a better rate of success just because you're using the tool. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what are the two rules? So let's dive into this. So what are the two rules we're going to talk about today? Rule number one, applying smart thinking. So everybody's heard this acronym multiple times, and it's a really famous acronym: SMART, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound goals. It's taught in a variety of different ways. A lot of different mentors will bring about the discussion of SMART goals, right? For our application, this is a critical step, because if you put something that's on your board and it's just way outside your realm of thinking and it's just super, super scary to you, your amygdala is going to get triggered, which is an organ in your brain that controls the fight or flight mechanism. So if you put something on your board that's just terrifying and you look at that, every single time you look at that, it's going to freak you out and your flight mode is going to come on, and you're just going to head for the hills, and you're going to be followed by all the negative talk that came up from your logical brain talking you out of why you couldn't achieve that. So every goal we set out to achieve will return to us a different yield, depending on the level of clarity we set as a precedence before we set out. This basic fundamental step can't be skipped. If you skip this rule of having smart and applicable goals, then you can't even abide by rule number two. So first rule, apply smart thinking when we're talking about our goals and our achievements, when you're putting what you want on your board. So rule number two is this is my favorite rule. Vision boards are a spiritual experience. Vision boards are a spiritual experience. It's an internal game with external results. They are not about what's on the wall. It is not about what is on the wall. It's not about it. You don't want what's on the wall. You want the experience that goal is going to give you. You want that experience, the result of having that goal. The physical achievement of a goal is just a target for the experience. It's just something to aim at, right? So just to recap, our thinking is smart and our tool is experience oriented. Okay, so a smart experience, equals a fulfilling life.
Mm.
So applying the rules, how do these two rules apply, being as simple as they may sound, how do they apply into the depths of what a real vision board experience is? What is a vision board experience? How do you actually apply these things? So this is going to get into some really cool stuff. It's some of my favorite stuff. So I hope you guys are ready. We're going to go through a lot of cool information, and then you're definitely going to want to look at the recording to come back through this, because I'm going to cover a lot of ground. Okay, so left and right brain. Most of us are comfortable with the idea that we have a left brain and a right brain system, right? Our left brain is logic and our right brain is creative. This is important because our logical brain will see an image on a board and do what I like to call a mind wipe. We set the goal on the table, or we put it on the board, right? And we say, okay, brain, this is what we're going to do next. And our logical brain kicks in, and totally laughing at us, it wipes it off the table, wipes it off the board, and says, ha, you've never done that. I have no evidence to support that that is something that you are even capable of. And ultimately, our logical brain's job is to keep us alive. Our logical brain is responsible for keeping us alive. It counts calories, it counts the rate in which we're burning those calories, it counts what efforts we're putting forward that are going to cause us to get into situations of danger or not, or be comfortable or whatever, how many calories we're taking in. Like, it just wants us to survive, right? So when it kicks in and laughs at us, it has, your whole system has evidence to support that we should listen to our logical brain and also laugh at the goal. And so then you run away, your fight or flight kicks on, and you're like, yep, I can't do that, no more. And the negative talk follows to back it up. So we want to wipe that idea of wiping of mind wiping the slate totally away and out of our thinking. We have to bypass our mind and get into the right action steps, so that we don't have our brain keeping us from those steps any longer, talking us out of steps that we know are going to bring us more fulfillment in our life, and we know are going to bring us all this joy. So as soon as we set the goal on the table, our mind has a series of questions that it answers for us. It identifies if it's going to harm us or if it's going to be safe for us. And if our brain answers the questions for us, they answer it in the order you see on the slide right here. How, they say, it says what, how, when, where, who, and why. And it's like in this panic mode, and it comes out with these questions. And as soon as you start thinking of the answers, or even diving into a little trickle of the solution to this, the idea of attaining this goal, it interrupts our thinking and it shouts, no, absolutely not. No, we could die. Can't do this. And I have no evidence to support this is safe, you know? And so we'll stay right here where it's comfortable, and we're going to do what we've always done. And so we can keep getting what we've always gotten, because it's served us to this day. We're still alive. So we know if we keep doing what we did, we're going to be alive. And that's a critical thing to understand. You've got to understand that part, okay? Do what we've always done, and we'll keep getting what we've already got. And what we've already got and what we've already done has led us to right now. I'm still alive. I'm still breathing. I'm still functioning. So every goal I've ever achieved has not killed me. So now those goals stand as evidence to support that I can do them again, and I won't die. My subconscious mind's gonna vote for me in favor of those achievements now. And then I'll explain some more about that later too. So no, we're not gonna do anything new, right? Nothing scary, nothing uncomfortable, because it's new and it's scary, right? But if we can trick our mind, right? We use our mind's systems against it, which is kind of backwards to say using your mind against yourself, right? I think Mom or Renee, you call it the arena brain.
Yeah.
I call it my jack brain. so we can flip that process around to our benefit through using the vision board. And this is what's really cool, because it's already a part of your system. You don't have to do very much to do this, to fix this part. So write this down. This is really important. We see the new goal, which is the what question, right? And then step 2, as soon as our brain starts down the list, it goes from what the goal is to immediately it wants to answer the how question. Like, how are we going to attain that? And we go, bam, no. We shout, no, that's not going to happen. We interrupt that process, and you're in with an intentional redirect. Your brain wants to go into the how equation, and you, no, redirect. And you're going to answer the questions for your subconscious mind in a different order. This is step 3, different order. And the order is down here on your board, or on my slide here. Your right brain is responsible for this portion. This is where now we're going to get out of the logic's control of things, and we're going to jump into letting our creative mind control the outcome of this situation. So now we're going to investigate, explore, and create the story and answer those questions for our subconscious mind. We're going to do it in this order: what, why, who, when, and how. How is the very last question. Everybody puts a board on their wall and they go, oh man, how am I going to do that? That's crazy. That's heart pounding. This is something I've never achieved. You know, scary, right? Totally blot that out. We're going to go straight to why after we know what we're doing. We don't need to know how, because I'll show you why here in a second. This is cool too. After all 5 questions, you'll come to the how question at the end. And at this point, you've already exhausted a lot of calories. If you've already answered all those questions and you really spent the time to actually write down what these questions are and how they're answered and how and pertaining to your specific goal, that time and effort becomes spent energy. Spent energy. Your brain does not like spent energy, because spent energy, since the day you were born, you've been spending energy. And it knows the more energy that you spend, the faster you die. And the more calories you burn, the closer you are to death. So it does not like that. And so when you apply this effort into answering these questions, and your brain kicks in and says, this is important. This is important. We spent energy on this. This is important. You've already created the evidence now that your logical brain needs the answer. And to justify stepping toward this experience, and all of a sudden the evidence that is important enough for the spent energy starts becoming worked on by your logical brain for you. And this is critical. So this takes us to step 4, which is being open to inspiration. Open to inspiration. If you've already answered these questions, you've already spent all that energy, you've already got it written down, you've gone through the details, you got the what, you got the why, the who, the where, the when, and you're down to the how, and you're like, I still don't know. Be open for inspiration. Now that you've answered every question, your brain is about to give you the how automatically, which brings us to step 5. Step 5 is all about experience. We need to step this up, right? We got to step this part up, because I want the how. I want the how so I can get the goal, right? I want that experience pronto. I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait. I could do it right now, right? We just snap my fingers and goal achieved. That would just be, well, that'd be phenomenal. But we would miss out on the experience and the whole education of being able to achieve something. And we'd miss out on all of that. And so what we can do is master it and speed it up. Now that we're getting creative, right? The creative mind is active in answering these questions and creating this story, creating this experience. We're playing by the rules through our creative mind by creating the experience. So this is where it gets really fun. This is the best part. This is the best part. Our left brain still taunts us with doubt all the way up until the goal is manifested and we're still alive, proving that it was a safe step for us to take, which then soothes the logically thinking brain, and it goes into whole brain creativity in helping us perfect and fine-tune that goal. Because of all that spent energy, it now needs that result. It doesn't like to waste life force. But we can speed this process up by really diving into that creative energy. So now we're into the experience phases of getting our goal full throttle. And at this point, we find any and every way to create the experience of having that goal. If it's a new house, well, guess what? You get to go tour homes. What do they call it in St. George? Tour de homes or something like that.
Parade of homes.
Parade of homes. That's right. You get to go to a parade of homes. Go experience something close or relevant to the goal that you're trying to achieve. If it's a new car, well, guess what? You get to go test drive every vehicle fitting your descriptions. If you want a vacation, practice vacating your regular life routines for playful and fun activities related to your goal, and so on and so forth for each goal you are manifesting, each individual goal. And you want to let your creative energy just go crazy here. Don't hold it back. If it sounds like it's too much for you to go do, well, you're holding yourself back from having the experience that is the experience you're trying to get when you get your goal. So this is the closest experience you've ever had to that goal. Why would you hold yourself back from that? Don't do that. The more experiences you have, the more information your logical brain will collect. Write that down. The more experiences you have, the more information your logical brain will collect, which will organize your thinking. All the pieces will start to fit together. Your creative brain will see all of this and they'll say, oh, this is fun. We can imagine colors, shapes, and sizes. And then your logical brain goes, oh my goodness, we spent all this stuff, all this energy. Let's help collect this data and we're going to organize it and sit it together like Tetris. It's just going to be this perfect fit of a puzzle. And you're going to start achieving your goal because you're now, both sides of your brain are functioning together. You have whole brain creativity working to achieve what you're setting out to do, which is really fun. This is where it just starts, you just start playing. You just feel that joy, right? So during this process, you're going to want to invite positive emotion into your experiences all the way to complete manifestation of your goal. You have to keep it positive. If you keep it negative in any way, it's repelling your goal. So positivity attracts your goals. This is a critical step. So now that you have a flowing creation energy, and you are going to apply these points to fine tune that energy into what is called ACP, active creative power. ACP is all about the power of 3 tools that give us control over our natural tendencies. ACP breaks down like this: active creative power. So active, all about the active components. We have physical, audible, and emotional components. And active, the active phase of this is a masculine energy. It's get it done, get it done. And then creative is all about playful energy. So creation is joyful, passionate, playful. It's feminine energy. It's all about experience and wonder. And power, all about synergy. Power is strong, firm, steadfast, and consistent. This is the yin and yang, masculine and feminine energy working together in a harmony. And everybody, I hope you guys know this, everybody has feminine and masculine energy predominantly, always. Every single person on the planet. And that's just by default. We're human. That's how we're created. Our goal with applying ACP to our vision board process is to get the belief that this experience not only can be, but is real. And this is another really critical piece of information for you guys to have. If you have a vision board, you need to understand this. To do that, we have to get the story of our experience, right? Our goal through the filter of our mind. And the filter in our mind, through the filter in our mind, so that our subconscious will start to search for the how automatically for us without our constant effort, prying and like crawling through the mud trying to get our goals. We want it to happen automatically. Just like if you go to work today, you went to work however long you've been employed. When you go to work today, you know, you're just going to wake up, you're going to hit your alarm clock, you're going to go through your routine, you're going to go to work, you're going to go home, you're going to do your thing, and then at the end of the week, you can get your paycheck. It just kind of happens. It just kind of happens. You've been doing it for long enough that the little tedious things that used to bother you are automatic now. And then you can do that same thing with the act of creating goal achievement. You don't have to struggle like it's new every time you're trying to achieve a new goal. You can systemize it and make it automatic. We do that hard work up front, and then our subconscious finishes it up. Makes it really cool. So let me give you an example. If I can pull this up, should have had it pulled up already. Let me find it for you guys here really, really fast. This is gonna be cool. So right here. Okay, I'm going to share my audio. Okay, listen to this. Now, what do you suppose that is? What is that sound?
That's a heartbeat.
That's a beautiful sound, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me teach you something. That sound was a heartbeat, right? It was a heartbeat. It sounded like a heartbeat.
Yep.
It makes sense. It was a heartbeat, right?
Sounds like it.
You think that sound is a heartbeat. I would bet right off the bat, you got the instant impression of a heartbeat, just like you said, every single one of you got the instant impression of a heartbeat. But you might have imagined the heart sounds up close as well in your mind, or maybe you, with your ears, like you imagined how it felt with your ears pressed against maybe your mother or a loved one's chest, and or maybe how it sounds as an infant in the womb, or some other memory came to your mind, right? Some visual impression came to your mind when you were listening to the heart. Maybe you actually physically pictured a heart beating, you know. But let's get real. Why do you think that's a heartbeat? First of all, there's a visual trigger on the slide, and you're looking at a heart right here, right? And this acted as a reference point for your mind to say, hey, this is warm, familiar, right? This moment right here happening with the mother and the infant, and then a heart below. It sounds like maybe listening to your mother's heartbeat. And then next, of course, you have some evidence of what a heartbeat sounds like. Ultrasounds, movies, actual physical moments. You've heard them yourself. You've through either the chest of another human being, or maybe you just know from television, you know. And then it's just a warm, happy, familiar sound, right? It's just warm, happy, familiar sound. And of course, we like that. We like that. We like the idea, the feeling. The heart represents love, compassion, nurturing. It's a warm feeling, right? Everybody loves love at some point, right? Maybe at some point, maybe there's somebody in the world who thinks love is not love worthy, but most of us, we love love. And we crave that belonging, that sense that we feel from the heart, right? So what we've done is gone right through, just by listening to that and seeing these images here, we've gone right through what is called the reticular activating system. And we created a belief that that sound was in fact a heartbeat. You see it physically right here. You have an emotional memory of a physical interaction and your very own heart to confirm it. You can listen to your own heart. And you have audible distinction listening to that audio that ties it all together. It must be a heartbeat. But here's the key. Your subconscious does not know the difference between what's real and what's not. That sound was in fact not a heartbeat. Your head is not on another person's chest right now. My microphone is most definitely not on another person's chest right now. My microphone's sitting on my desk. Where'd the heart come from? That sound is in fact a computer generated audio file that I pulled off of the internet, not a heartbeat. That is a computer generated audio file specifically created in a lab, an audio lab like this image right here. Made and specifically formatted to sound like a heartbeat, but it is not a heartbeat. And here's the file uploaded to my slide. I'll tell you, I'll play it one more time. So now listening to that, what's even more interesting is that right now, while watching this play, your mind is still battling the belief that this is in fact a heartbeat. You see the lifeline, right, in the video, beating up and down in sync with the audio as if it were a heart monitor or an ultrasound or something. And you have evidence to support that this is a recording of a real heartbeat, right? Not a fake knockoff computer generated sound of an authentic heartbeat, right? And that, my friends, is how you're going to get every item up on your board, off your board, and into your success binder. It's called evidence.
Mm.
Oh, if I don't go too far here. So this is cool. This is cool. So now the application of these tools is what's going to create that evidence for you. If you can create an evidence as strong as the evidence that supports that that audio was in fact a heartbeat in your mind, you will be able to pull things off your vision board just left and right because your mind is working for you. It's a belief. It's a belief. Your subconscious mind believes it so strongly that it will answer those hard questions for you. You'll get ideas will just pop into your mind with the solution to how the next step should be taken, what the action step should be, what's the game plan, where's the how, the why, the what, the when, the where, etc. How does it all tie together? What does it ultimately look like? Your subconscious will do the hard work for you because you made up a story as close as you could perceive it, as creative as you could be. And you tied together all these elements of what it all means to have an experience, emotion, audio, physical touch, the actual memory and visual experience that you have, right? So let's tie all this into applicable steps. So I hope you've taken notes because that was I blew through it pretty quick, but that was some really detailed information. So step one, we're going to choose SMART goals. No matter what we do, when we put something on our vision board, we're going to choose SMART goals. Step two, answer the questions in order before your jack brain does. Your arena brain, right? Step three, create the experience. Have fun. Experience joy. I mean, you're achieving the next level. Don't make it desperate. Don't make it desperate. Don't put something on your board that you can't pull away from desperation and feel joy from the act of achieving it. Remember, it's not about what's on the board. Your life is not about the next thing you're going to achieve. Not at all. It's not about the next $100 you're going to get. It's not about the next $1,000 that's going to land in your paycheck. It's not about the home that you always wanted or the extra child you're looking for or the crazy car you've been dreaming of or just whatever willy-nilly goal you might have. You know, I always wanted what's it called? Now I'm forgetting and drawing a blank. A carbon fiber guitar, acoustic guitar. And they're like $1,500. I just can't, at this point, put it on my board because I can't justify it. So I'm still playing the mind game. I'm still playing the mind game, getting myself to the point where I can see that next thing as being time for it. So don't put something on your board that you can't full on go for. If you can't go for it, what's going to happen is you're going to talk yourself out of looking at your board and all your other goals are going to suffer. So put SMART goals on your vision board. Answer the questions in order before your negative Nancy mind comes up and does that for you. Create the experience. And remember, when I say negative Nancy mind, everybody has a negative side that comes up. We all have that. That's called being human beings. You don't have to be a negative person to have negative junk self-talk or negative I can't kind of language. It's just part of being human. But we can overcome that in certain things by doing things like this. So then we create the experience. We have fun. We experience joy, etc. Then we are consistent. We are collecting enough evidence through our experiences that we're having so that it becomes automatic. So your brain will answer the how question on its own. And as soon as that how question comes around, and we're staying open to inspiration because we're going to keep a notepad on the side of our bed. So your brain will give you the answer, right? And at whatever moment, and we don't want to miss it. And 9 times out of 10, it will come in the quiet times. It'll come when nothing's going on, which is mostly in the morning. You'll get the chance to wake up super, super, super early, like ridiculously early, like 3 a.m., right? You just wake up in the morning and roll over, grab your notepad, and just put your pen on the paper and say, I'm ready for the how now.
Mhm.
Something will come to you. Something will come to you. And you write that down. And then you do what you wrote down. Do what you wrote down. Follow through. If you don't follow through, your brain will stop giving you answers. You'll stop getting them. The inspirations will stop coming because you have a backed up reservoir of all these unacted steps. So act on them. Act on them. And then in the process of staying open, we got to remember staying open for inspiration. You got to remember that our brains are data supercomputers. We collect data from the second we are conceived and have a conscious mind and perception of things all the way to the day you die, the second it happens. You just have to convince it to hand it over to you. Your mind already knows 9 of the 10 goals that you're ready to achieve. It's already got the answer. It just doesn't think it's safe. It doesn't know that you're going to survive. It thinks you might die. It's scary, unknown, and unfamiliar, right? And its job is to keep you alive. And so we take these steps, and by using our creative mind and our logical mind synergistically, we create this ability to achieve a comfortable logical mind in an uncomfortable new condition, and it answers it for us. So then I have a little bit of a bonus for you. Combating self-sabotage. This isn't something that was going to be a part of the recording, but I want you guys to know this. I felt like it was important when I was putting this together. Your board will not work if you don't as soon as you turn away from your board and you walk away, if all of a sudden you down talk everything that you just did. And because we're human, we have all these negative thoughts come to our mind, whether we can be positive, we can have declarations, we can stand in front of our board and we can talk ourselves up and just be gung-ho, ready to go. And then you turn away from your board and you walk away, and what happens? It floods in, and you start feeling the low energy come back because you're not in the moment of high peak expression anymore. And you start to doubt your ability to fulfill that side of the equation. And you go through this can't language, and thoughts just kind of hit you. And whether or not you like them, or they came on purpose, or they were totally accidental, they came out of the blue and took you by surprise, it's totally irrelevant. The fact is we're human, and new things are unknown, and unknown things are scary, and our brain wants us to survive, and scary things are known as bad. So so that happens. So our internal dialogue is just part of life. So I suggest you keep a shredder next to your vision board. Writing down the exact negative thought that came to your mind the moment that you look away from your board and you call it done, and you turn to walk away, step a foot to the left in front of that paper, put your pen on that and write. And I would put a line down the middle and put on the left side whatever negative thoughts came, and for every negative, put 2 to 3 positives on the other side, and just rip that down the middle, crunch up the negative stuff, etc., or whatever, put it in the shredder if that's how you do it. I like to use the shredder, and then leave the positive side next to your board, because tomorrow when you come back, or that same night, if you're looking at it like you should be at least 3 minutes at night, 3 minutes in the evening. If you're looking at it like you should be, when you come back that night, you'll look at your board, and guess what thoughts are going to come up? Those thoughts. And those negative thoughts that you burned, that you ripped up and you put in the shredder, are same day thoughts. They're not tomorrow's thoughts, they're same day thoughts. So what you're going to do is you're going to read the positive, direct combat statements that are sitting very neatly right there, ready for you next to your board. And those become your night's declarations. Tomorrow morning, you're going to have a set of new declarations for your vision board, because every day you're going to have some new trial, and that's just how we live in this life. But one critical aspect that you're going to want to be able to wrap your minds around, and I have mine right here. This is called a success binder. And it's really simple, and I don't know, maybe my mom has taught you this, and maybe she hasn't, but a success binder is simply that. It's a binder containing all of your successes. It doesn't have to be complex or pretty or fancy in any way. It just has to contain the stories of your successes. No matter how big they are and no matter how small they are, you want to put them on the board. Because this is going to serve as an evidence. And as each item comes off your board, or you put that picture or note and a quick explanation attached to it right into the binder in order, one after another. You want to make sure that you're doing this consecutively. Don't just kind of throw them in there. Do it consecutively. You'll thank me later for that. But as your stories grow, so will the size and the capacity of each of the goals. And you'll realize that later when you look back through it, in the very beginning, maybe some small goals were coming off. They might be huge goals to one person, but small to another, or vice versa. But toward the end of that binder, you're going to realize your goals are huge. They're massive coming off this board, going into this success binder. They're going to become bigger and bigger and bigger. And the reason is your mind will start to see the successes pile up that you are bringing in to this success binder, and it will start creating this feeling of more safety through reducing your stress. And we all know stress taxes our body. It hurts us, causes anxiety, brings in physical damage. We have physical reactions to stress. So by seeing these growing experiences reduce our stress, our subconscious is going to go, oh, this must be good for us to keep adding experiences to this binder. And then we're going to have an increase in our quality of food and water and shelter. And your brain's going to go, oh my gosh, I'm not getting as many toxins in my water or my food anymore. Oh, my shelter has even improved my anxiety and my actual physical well-being. And now your subconscious is going to have more evidence that you should keep getting things off your vision board. And this is going to increase the quality of your life. And it will become, excuse me, it will become progressively easier for you to work with your subconscious as each success makes its way off your board and into your binder. It's going to become really cool. And I have a cool story. Just briefly, I'll show you. I have a picture right here on the slide. This is one of my favorite goals. It's for some people, maybe this isn't huge, but for me, this was one of the coolest things. I always wanted to see the redwood forest, and I had I have this picture of this huge towering tree where I'm sitting here, flexing my muscles and standing in front of this awesome tree. That's the roots of this massive tree that fell over. That's bigger than my freaking car. That totally impressed me. And like I said in the beginning, I'm a fanatic for nature. I absolutely love nature. And it was a huge goal on my bucket list for at least 13 years, give or take, to see the redwood forest. And after I started to apply these steps and some other simple duplicatable strategies, I was not only able to just see the redwood forest, but I was actually able to go from Newport, Oregon, all the way down the coast, down to Eureka, California, and then up through the redwood forest, and then back again to Evanston, Wyoming in a big loop. And I saw that long-awaited, so much desired space that is the redwood forest. And I still remember what the leaves were like walking through this unpaved part of the trail, which was just kind of an off-beaten path, and just the way that it was so consumed in life, so well protected that nature was just thriving. And this is me at the famous fallen tree from the national parks images of the forest. I had to make sure that I got the picture of standing on the tree that they represent. And I'll show you right here. If you can see my camera, can you see me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so right here, this is my success binder. And I just have a really cool picture that just speaks to me. I mean, it's nothing fancy. I even just realized last week that I have a little scratch in the front of the binder, but that doesn't affect what it does to my subconscious mind, because I'm going to take care of this and fix that scratch. I show value in my binder, and I have an image here that reflects to me, and I just have it loaded up with successes. So this was one success that I had in 2016. I should have put a date on that. See, this is what I'm talking about. 2016. In this binder, I put in here 1 month. I wanted to go from 0 to 5,000, no matter how much money I already had or whatever else was going on. I wanted to start something new and track it from 30 days, 1 month's time, going from 0 to $5,000. And I did that. Inside 30 days, I was able to achieve $5,000. And I have right here, this is my trip down to the Redwood Forest. Not only did I get to go to the Redwood Forest, but I went all the way down the coastline there, down to the Redwood Forest from Newport, Oregon. And then my good friends that were walking across the country for suicide prevention were landing on Newport, Oregon beach. And I was able to watch them touch the water because I took chances. And it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. It was a cool experience. And I have, all these images to represent what I had achieved at that time. And this binder is just full of all of these evidences. And as I build more and more goals on my binder or on my vision board, and I look at more and more things that are a little more daunting, a little bigger tasks, or like right now, the pandemic is a pretty big deal. And so it might be a little scary for some people to think I can put a goal of travel on my vision board right now. But as the more evidence that I have built up that I'm capable of having a safe journey, the better results I'm going to have trying to get something like that again off my vision board. And I'll show you right here. I have just learned what I'm doing and come to this sense of mastery with it, but I've been able to teach this for the last 6 years. This is something that works. This is something that people use all the time because and you'll find that there are multiple mentors in all different facets of life that teach these principles in various ways. And how I've come to understand how to do this was through a lot of years of pain and frustration and trying to whittle away at the details of how my mind works and the scariness of taking risks and to achieve something that I wasn't sure was going to be good for me or my family. I've got a wife now. I've got 4 kids now. I've spent almost $15,000 in personal mentorships to learn what I just showed you and a little bit more. But these details are the foundation. These details are the foundation. And this is where you want to start. And I've created my company, United Works, for the purpose of sharing this, but uniting other mentors primarily. And Renee is my mom. She's one of those mentors that I love to network with because United Works is all about uniting individuals. And I found that in achieving all of these things, it was actually a cooler experience for me personally to see things coming off my board so fast and then be able to turn around and show somebody and then see them come off of their board so fast. That was actually cooler for me than getting things off my own board. So now I put things on my board, like I have one on there that says, I want to teach a new vision board course live to 30 students as a trial run for an introduction to a new visionary course. And I'm super excited because these are impacting other people around me. These goals now that I'm putting on my board are more oriented toward other people than they are about myself. And that I think has actually improved the result of getting things off of my board. And I thank you for hearing me out in my whole spiel. And I hope that as I gave you the details that I've come to understand, I was able to not only answer some of the questions that you guys might be having, but identify maybe some steps that you could take to improve what you've been doing. And I've kind of been through the ringer on my own experiences to learn these things so that you don't have to go through those steps anymore. That's what a mentor is. And a moment like this is more of a coach setting where I'm just teaching you something really quick, kind of in and out. But there are some continued education options with not just my company, but with Renee and with other mentors in the world that can tie all these things together for you to help you move forward faster in your life. So I encourage you to keep finding mentors, whether it's my mom, whether it's me, whether it's another person in the world. Always have somebody to lean back onto, because especially now when there's so much separation and division in the world today, it's really critical that when looking at the future, trying to be visionary, trying to have a visionary moment, we're not just consumed with the act of achievement and the act of getting something, but we're connecting the dots with each other and realizing that we all kind of live together in this big old happy world. So thank you very much for being a part of that presentation.